نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا حبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, I make dua right at the outset that Allah keeps us all safe and protected. Allah keeps us all healthy and fit. So many people around us have passed away in the recent days. On a daily basis, I'm sending messages of condolences, more than 3-4 a day. In some cases 10, 15 people or more people have messaged me saying, please make dua, my loved ones have passed away, my parents have passed away, my brother, my sister. I spoke to a friend this morning who called me and said to me, I am very unwell. His voice was very disturbing, very upsetting, and I was very upset by listening to him because he was finding it difficult to talk, exhausting to talk, breathing difficulty and so on. I did the same yesterday. Brothers and sisters, if you don't believe that COVID-19 is real, if you don't believe that our people are dying left, right and center in our country, not only in our country but across the world, then I will say you are deluded. Something is not right up there in the upper faculty, your brain that Allah has given you as a gift. Let me start by giving you an example of what happened recently. I was queuing up at the post office a couple of days ago when a young man came and stood literally inches behind me. So I looked at him and I said to him, excuse me, can you please step back? And there is a sign here saying, keep your distance. He said, no, I don't need to do that. I said, I'd like to do that, please. He goes, if you want, then you can move on. I said, but I was standing here, you came after me, please keep distance. He started arguing with me. He started saying COVID-19 actually was a made-up disease. It was the government that was feeding us such information. He was not wearing any mask. He was trying to be very smart. He spoke very well, but he made no sense. Eventually he called me a sheep, saying, you're a sheep, old man, he called me. He said, because of you, we are now in this problem. What do you say to a person who has such a twisted logic in their head? What do you say? You can say very little. I was very upset. I was very angry, of course. I could have thumped him if I wanted to, but no, I restrained myself. I was in the post office, and the post office staff behind the counter said to me, really sorry, we cannot enforce wearing of masks in our shop. We cannot enforce people maintaining social distance. That's the post office's policy. I was appalled by what I heard from the staff at the post office. Whatever their policy is, it is a disgrace that some people still don't believe that coronavirus, COVID-19, is actually causing problem in our world. Millions of people have been affected. Nearly 2 million people globally, maybe even more, have died. Recorded and unrecorded, we could be looking at much higher figure. In the UK alone, 1,000 people a day are dying. That's the highest in our country. Brothers and sisters, COVID-19 is real. Coronavirus is real. And it's mutated. It's taken a variant forms, more infectious. It's spreading faster than ever before. What should we do under such circumstances? What are the Islamic rules? What are the Islamic regulations? What are we supposed to be doing? In Islam, we have some very important duties and responsibilities, and that we must maintain. We cannot shy away from our duties and responsibilities. Remember, protecting life is the most important principle of Islamic law. Protecting life. Allah says that in the Quran, من قتل نفس بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا Whoever takes a life, it is as though they have taken the lives of the entire humanity. Whoever saves a life, it is as though they have saved the lives of the entire humanity. Allah puts human life as sacred. In the Quran and in the sayings of the Prophet, we find many mentions of how human life is sacred. And it should not be taken. It should not be violated. Coronavirus is a naturally occurring virus that we see that's taken a form of pandemic, causing havoc across the globe. Our duty as those who are living is to save as many lives as possible. Doctors and nurses, their duty in the profession is to save as many lives as possible. Government's duty is to provide infrastructure, support network, medical aid and support, financial support, economic support, any support that is needed to be able to protect its citizens. Governments across the world, that's their duty and responsibility. For those people who think that government has made up a story called coronavirus to sell to a pharmaceutical company and give big contracts to their friends, while government is guilty of giving big contracts to their friends, while government is guilty in some cases of nepotism, cronyism, and giving favors to their friends, it is not true that they've made up this disease. It is not true. This disease does exist. It is causing not just problem, but it is ravaging this world, killing not one or two, not in hundreds, but in millions at the moment. So if you think a government would prepare a disease, invent a disease, release a disease to kill people, or would make up a story, a fiction to scare people, how do you account for those who are dying? Well, brother, they must have died out of natural causes. Well, no, that's not true. I have got friends who are very senior doctors, surgeons, anesthetists, those who are radiologists, GPs, those who are in various professions, orthopedic surgeons, brain surgeons. I have friends across the medical profession. Each and every one of them I've spoken to, they swear in the name of Allah, their life is in danger. They're working flat out. Some of them are doing 24-hour shifts with very little break, exhausted, unable to go back to their families. One such person said, after a day's work, I can't go back to my home and even hug my wife. I can't even go near my children because I'm afraid of giving them any virus that I may be carrying. So the first thing I have to do is completely disinfect myself at the hospital, take my PPE off, then go and have a shower, change my clothes, go home, make sure I'm completely sanitized, and then I can only greet my family or be around them. Can you imagine the pressure on the frontline staff, the nurses and the doctors, the pain that they're enduring? They can't cry with the patients that they're seeing die every day. They can't cry because they have to be strong and powerful to be able to provide support to the family, to be able to show that there are strong people out there looking after them. They can't. They have to be strong. But as soon as they finish their shift, I receive many phone calls from doctors and nurses crying on the phone saying, brother, you don't know the pain. You don't know the pain. I don't know who to turn to. I want to talk. I want to give you my story. I want to share my pain with you. And I listen very carefully. Sometimes I cry with them. I drop my tears with them because I realize the pain that they're going through, seeing human beings die left, right and center, right around them. Only the other day, a friend of mine told me that his father was on deathbed, a very young man. In fact, when I say young, a healthy man, a fit man. He's 78, he was 78. He was cycling around everywhere. One day he was taken as ill, then into hospital, next day holding his children's hand, reciting kalima, reciting shahada, making dua and istighfar, advising his children and talking to them, slowly but surely withered away and passed away right in front of him. That is real. That is real. Many friends who have lost their families It's real for them. Many sons who have lost their father, many daughters who have lost their mother, many parents who have lost their children, many families who have lost their grandparents, their uncles, their aunties. It's real for them, brothers and sisters. So anyone out there who is doubting the existence of coronavirus, wallahi, fear Allah. Fear Allah, for if you don't have anything true to say, keep your mouth shut. If you don't have evidence to support what you believe in, keep your mouth shut. It is not acceptable for you to infect people with your corrupt mind, your deluded mind. It is not allowed. I say this with great pain in my heart. Coronavirus is not a figment of our imagination. It was not made up in the lab. It was not created by a government so that it can infect people and kill its own citizens. It's not figment of government's imagination. It's not a fiction. It's true. It's happening left, right and center. Ask a doctor. Ask a nurse. Ask a funeral director. Ask somebody who is at the front line. Ask an ambulance driver who will tell you how he's queuing up in front of the hospital. Patients dying in his own vehicle, waiting outside for 5 hours because hospitals have run out of bed. So if you think coronavirus is not real, wake up. Wake up, my brother, my sister. Stop believing in nonsense. Stop believing in conspiracy theory. It's real. Don't wait for it to happen to you. Don't wait for it to happen to you. Coronavirus is real. We are on the brink of destruction unless we do the right thing, unless we take the right steps. Of course we must believe in Allah. Of course we must rely on Allah. Of course we must make dua. We must also take medication. We must also do research to find cure. We must protect ourselves, do everything possible. Protecting life is sacred in Islam. Watching a person die and doing nothing is haram. If you see somebody is in danger and you can help and you don't help, you will be responsible for aiding and abetting a person's death. On the day of judgment, Allah will ask, why did you not help my servant when you could have helped him? You could have helped her. Brothers and sisters, COVID-19 is real. Get a grip with yourself. Get a handle with your brain. And stop thinking such nonsense. Stop watching those conspiracy theory that is being spouted out by people who have nothing else to do in life. They have no values for themselves. They don't even believe in Allah. Stop listening to conspiracy theories. Listen to the facts around you, in front of you. You want to know? Come with me to the hospital. Come with me to the doctor's surgery. Come and speak to a nurse and they will tell you. Protecting life is so important. Many of my brothers and sisters who are at the front line as doctors and nurses, they tell me, brother, the only reason we carry on is because we believe Allah has given us instructions as doctors and nurses to save lives, and we're doing everything possible to save lives. Please help us. I receive messages from nurses and doctors saying, please help us. Tell everybody, please stay at home. Protect yourself. Wear a mask. Wash your hand. Don't go outside if you don't need to. Stay at home. They're begging you and me. Government has been asking. And yet we see many young people falling prey of this conspiracy theory. You know, brothers and sisters, when you behave like that, you are being arrogant, you're being ignorant, and you're being a fool. Mark my words. You're being arrogant, you're being ignorant, and you're being a fool if you think coronavirus is not real. I say this with huge amounts of pain in my heart. It is real. Hundreds and thousands of people have died in our country. 1,000 people died yesterday alone in the UK. More than 2 million actually, more than a couple of million people so far recorded have died. Actually, it will be more if you go to places where death records are not as accurate as we have in the country like ours in the UK. Brothers and sisters, there are so many principles of Islam that makes us so driven to protecting life. When I see somebody without a mask, I want to go and give them a mask. When I see people mingling, I want to go and tell them don't mingle. When I see people coming up and shaking hands and giving hugs, I want to tell them stop. Not because I don't love you. We love you. Of course I love you. Because I care for you. I don't want you to kill yourself. In Islam, putting yourself at risk harming others is haram. Remember, putting yourself at risk or risking others and harming others is haram, is not allowed in Islam. Protecting yourself is an obligation. I don't understand where people are coming from when they say, brother, it's a conspiracy theory. Where are you coming from? Why are you not getting it? Why are you not understanding this? Brothers and sisters, when you look at benefit and harm also is another principle of Islam, which says if there are more harm than benefit, then abandon what you're doing. There is more harm in you coming out of your homes. There are more harms in you not wearing a mask when you are in public, when you're going into a shop, supermarket, your local grocery, your butcher, even your post office. Put your mask on. Put your mask on. It's not that difficult. Somebody said to me the other day, the good thing about mask is it keeps my face warm. That's also true. But it protects you. Protecting yourself. Don't put yourself at harm's way. And don't risk other people's lives too. Benefit and harm requires you to understand that staying at home is more beneficial. Wearing mask is more beneficial. Washing your hands is more beneficial. Not meeting your family is more beneficial. Not mingling is more beneficial. Not going out with your friends is more beneficial. Not loitering together in a group is more beneficial. More beneficial. So therefore, if you are breaking what is beneficial for the greater harm, you are committing a sin. You're committing a sin. Brothers and sisters, don't forget, public interest in Islam is also another principle by which we have to abide by and we have to be mindful of. If public are put at risk because of my behavior, our behavior, then we will be responsible on the day of judgment for our selfishness, our individualistic behavior, because public interest is greater than individual interest in Islam. If you can protect yourself by wearing a mask, if you can keep your social distance, if you can stay at home, if you can wash your hands more often, and if you can stay away from your families and your friends, you are safeguarding public interest. Infection rates will drop and eventually this virus will die. But until then, we have to stay together. We have to be patient. We have to endure. And we have to abide by the principles of Islam. Remember, public interest is more important than your selfish personal interest. And finally, in Islam, there is a principle called darura, necessity. When there is a necessity, all rules are suspended. All rules are suspended. There are no rules that apply to necessity. There is necessity in the world today. There is an emergency. There is an urgency. There is a pandemic. People are dying everywhere. Every household, your neighbor, somebody in your family, several households. I spoke to another friend of mine yesterday. He said 4 of his brothers and sisters have gone through the coronavirus, COVID-19. Every single member of their family have been infected and they've just come out. Alhamdulillah, they're still alive. May Allah protect us all, my brothers and sisters. But please remember, darura, necessity has no rules. There is a necessity for us to stay at home. There is a necessity for us to protect ourselves. There is a necessity for us to wear a mask. There is a necessity for us to wash our hands more often. There is a necessity for us not to see our families and our friends. There is a necessity for us not to mingle and socialize. There is a necessity for us to listen to the rules. You should not be the ones breaking it. Remember, as Muslims, we have an added duty. Allah has given us an Islamic duty and a responsibility, not just to behave well, but to promote good. Not just to be good, but to be excellent in society. Not just prevent harm on myself, but work collectively to prevent harm from other people. That is an Islamic duty. Belief on its own is not enough. Belief must be coupled with action. And action is to make sure you're doing beneficial activities for people. You're doing things to protect people. You're doing things to prevent harm. You're doing things for the collective interest of people. You're doing things so that you can make lives of people better. That's Islam. That's our religion. And if you have forgotten it, let me remind you, Islam is a religion of safety, peace and protection of life, dignity, honor, your property, your family, your faith, your neighborhood, your society. your environment. It is all about us doing everything possible to restore peace and protection around us. This is our religion of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you are a believer of conspiracy theory, please, for Allah's sake, fear Allah. Stop sharing nonsense with people. If there is no evidence, don't share it. Don't pass on wrong information to people. By you passing on wrong information to people, if one person was to die, if one person was to be harmed, you will be held responsible on the day of judgment. So if you don't have evidence, keep it to yourself. If you don't know the truth of the matter, if you cannot establish the veracity of it, if you cannot establish the authenticity of it, keep it to yourself. Delete it. Don't tell anybody, because you don't want to harm other people. But seriously, my brothers and sisters, you think coronavirus is not true? You think government has created this disease to just fool you and I? Which planet do you live in? Why would a government do that? And how could a government get away with it? Oh, they've got away with other things. Yes, they got away with it because those were more tangible. This is coronavirus. You can see it right next to you. This is more tangible than anything else. Those who are dying, look at the hospital death rates. Oh brother, they're making up death rates. They are not making up the death rate of my cousin who died a few days ago. They're not making up death rate of my friends who have been affected by coronavirus and hospitalized. They're not making up stories of my neighbors who have passed away as a result of coronavirus. They're not making up story of other family members who have died from my extended family because of coronavirus. They haven't made up those stories of many families who have lost their families across, not only in this country and around the world. They're not making it up. You know, instead of wasting your time believing in conspiracy theories, believing in spreading such nonsense, do something about it so that we can protect ourselves. While you are spreading such nonsense, do you know in Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan government is forcibly cremating Muslim and everybody, a Buddhist country by majority, but they're forcing cremation on Christians and Muslims. That's what you should be standing and protecting and protesting against. You should be writing to Sri Lankan government. You should be writing to your MP, raising your concerns that there should be no enforced cremation, for burial of a body doesn't cause any coronavirus infection to be spread through the earth into the water table. Spread such facts to the world. Tell the government of Sri Lanka that you will not get away with this. We will take you to court. We will do everything possible to make sure that you do not violate the sacred rights of the Muslims and the Christians. We'll stand together. Do that, because that's your Islamic duty, instead of wasting time spreading nonsense and misinformation, infecting other people and watching people die right next to you while doing nothing about it. So brothers and sisters, to finish off, let me say to you, protecting life is wajib, is an obligation. Preventing harm is an obligation. Doing nothing while people are dying around you is a sin. We have to do everything. The least we can do is cover our faces with a mask, wash our hands regularly, keep ourselves at home, don't go out, don't meet your families and your friends, don't socialize. Brothers and sisters, and make lots of dua. Make lots of dua. Don't forget, if the government, your doctor, your medical professional invites you to take vaccination, go and take it. Don't hesitate, take it. May Allah protect us all. We make dua for all those people who are not well, especially our friends and our families, our neighbors, our fellow citizens of our country and the world. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, Ya Akramul Akramin. Free us of the coronavirus, Ya Allah. Ya Akramul Akramin, Ya Arhamur Rahimin. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, free us of the COVID-19 infection, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, Ya Akramul Akramin. Relieve us of the coronavirus. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, relieve the world of the coronavirus, Ya Allah. Anyone who is unwell, Ya Allah, give them shifa from your shifa. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-barasi wal-jununi wal-judam wa min sayyi al-asqam. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام ومن سيء الأسقام. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام ومن سيء الأسقام. يا رب الناس اذهب البأس واشفي أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاءك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. يا رب الناس اذهب البأس واشفي أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاءك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. يا رب الناس اذهب البأس واشفي أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاءك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. Ya Allah, in your name, Ya Allah, in your name we ask you, in your name we ask you, in your best of names we beseech you, we beg you, we request you, Ya Allah, to relieve us of this illness, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, give cure, give your shifa, from your shifa to those who are not well, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, give us strength for those of us who are not infected. Ya Allah, give us strength to be able to fight it off. Protect us, Ya Allah. Protect our families, Ya Allah. Protect our neighbors, our society, our world, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, Ya Akramul Akramin. Those who have passed away because of coronavirus, Ya Allah, Ya Akramul Akramin, grant them the status of Shaheed, Ya Allah. Grant them the status of Shaheed, Ya Allah. Grant them the status of Shaheed, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamur Rahimin, Ya Akramul Akramin. We have closed down our masajids. Ya Allah, forgive us for doing it. For we have no other choice except to close it down for the greater good of society, for the collective interest of our society, to protect our people. Ya Allah, we turn to you for help. We turn to you for help, Ya Allah. We turn to you for cure. We turn to you for knowledge. We turn to you for patience. We turn to you for endurance. And we turn to you for love and mercy and your grace, Ya Allah. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Brothers and sisters, that was a broadcast from Whiteman Road Masjid. Our masjid is closed until further notice. Many masajids have closed down until further notice. Please keep in touch with those masajids to find out when it will open again. Support them. Donate for these masajids because we still have to pay the bills. Please donate. Go online and donate generously. Remember, the masajids are still running some of the programs online. So for example, I'll be running the Sunday study circle every Sunday. I've been doing it since Ramadan. It starts at 6 o'clock online on my Facebook and on my YouTube live, so you can join in with your family, with your friends. Just tell them they can connect using their phone, their laptops, their TV screens, and you can watch it together. It's a family-friendly program. It's about learning Islam together as a family. So on every Sunday we do that. Of course, there are other programs that we will be doing. Friday, a khutbah or reminder will be broadcasting from the masjid, inshallah. Though there is nobody here, I'm all on my own, but we'll be doing it so that you stay connected. If you need help and support, get in touch with our brothers and sisters at your local level, and they will inshallah be out there to help you and support you. May Allah protect you all. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.